Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Nothing to See Here podcast. Hi, it's Frankie.
It's Hannah.
Two things. I really, really want some gingerbread right now, and I think it's a crime and a travesty that gingerbread is only a Christmas cookie.
I mean, you can make it at any time of the year. No one's stopping you.
Oh, I know, but people are gonna look at me weird.
I wouldn't.
Well, thank you.
I look at you weird because you are weird.
Shut up, Hannah.
I look at you weird for different reasons, but that's a compliment from me. I like weirdos. And two, not for wanting gingerbread in February.
And second, so the Eagles fucking dominated the Chiefs.
Oh, baby, so happy. Oh, celebrate good times.
Yeah, I was actually rooting for the Eagles as well, just because I didn't want the Chiefs to get a three-peat.
That's what I didn't want to happen either.
My dog Truffle has predicted the winners.
Wow, go Truffles.
But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Taylor Swift got her ass booed.
Yeah,
that's really what you want to talk about.
I want to address that. Swifties are going nuts, saying she got booed. And, like, Travis Kelce shows up to her concerts and gets cheered, and Taylor Swift shows up to the Super Bowl and gets booed, and men are trash. First of all, you're right.
Correct.
Men are trash.
Yeah, that's a very correct statement.
But men are not trash for that. They booed Taylor Swift not because she's Taylor Swift, but because she's a Chiefs fan, and the majority of the stadium
was
hated
Eagles
the Chiefs.
Fan. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, it was all
the first Chiefs drive, all I heard were boos. As soon as Patrick Mahomes stepped onto the field, everyone was booing in that stadium.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with her being Taylor Swift. It had everything to do with her being a Chiefs fan and rooting for the Chiefs. And I think she knows that as well.
Yeah, I think she knows that. But I think Swifties don't know it. And here's the reason why. I've been
they're
online.
Not football people?
They're not football people, but here's the thing. It's not just that they're not football people, because some of them are becoming football people. They've become Chiefs fans. The issue is, they became Chiefs fans last year when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. And the year before that, they had won the Super Bowl. And this year, they made it to the Super Bowl. So all they knew as a sports fan was winning. And then, their team got their asses kicked.
Yeah, like, handed to them. I think I wasn't watching it, but my dad told me at one point, like, the Chiefs spilled, like, poured Gatorade on the coach while the game was still going.
So the winner of the Super Bowl,
the Eagles, sorry.
You pour the Gatorade on your coach, and they poured it on their coach with 3 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, while the game was still going.
At one point, the score was 34-0.
Did they, like, let them get a touchdown? Were they being nice?
No, they got a touchdown because, like, they are a good team. And then the final score was 40-22.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not reflective of the actual game because the Chiefs the Eagles pulled all their starters. When the Chiefs scored the majority of their points, it was against the backups.
So, I know this isn't something, especially for the Super Bowl, this isn't something that we do, but when I played sports as a kid, we had like a pity roll where after like you were so far ahead, they just fucking ended the game. Yeah.
There's no mercy roll in the pros.
Man,
you gotta sit there and take your ass beaten the whole time.
That sucks so bad. Also, I'd like to apologize I know we were supposed to record that Saturday. Some family stuff got in the way.
I'm still mad at you for this.
You can be mad at me. I was very drunk. You wouldn't have wanted me.
Oh, no, I think that would have been a better episode.
Editor Frankie would not agree.
Hannah, the Chaos Gremlin, says otherwise.
I was very much tipsy because I was drinking with my Uncle Dan, and I found out what it's like to be an old person. I was drinking whiskey, and building a puzzle with him, drunk.
Puzzles are good.
It was a good puzzle. It was a 1,000-piece puzzle, and I finished it at 1 a.m. I'd like to apologize. I am sorry. Was not expecting to get fucked up. I was actually expecting to, like, I think go out to eat, but there was that ice storm or whatever, so we were trapped.
We didn't get it that bad here.
Yeah,
No,
there was nothing here.
Sorry, I was in York then. For those of you who are in Pittsburgh, I don't know. Yeah, I was in York, so they got the ice storm and it was pretty not great. So we were like, well, what the fuck do we do?
Get drunk is the answer.
The answer is get drunk.
Get drunk and force Frankie and Hannah to sit there for an hour waiting.
Was it really an hour?
It was about 40 minutes that we waited, yeah.
It was more than 40.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was that long.
I thought it was 40. But I have a bad concept of time.
It was an hour.
I'm so sorry. I did not know it was that long. To be fair,
I texted you after 20 minutes, and then I think I texted Monique 10 minutes after that, and she didn't get back to me for another 10 minutes at least.
My phone, I don't know what happened to my phone, but honestly, it's probably a good idea I didn't have my phone. Drunk me does tend to call people.
I think if you had called Hannah or me, we might have died.
If I had heard you shit-faced on the phone and then I made you cry because I said we're supposed to record, I think you would have been forgiven.
I don't think I would have cried. I think I would have laughed.
If I had said we've been waiting an hour, you might have cried.
I don't know about that. Drunk me? I don't know about that. High Amanda's a different story.
High Amanda would definitely cry.
Yeah, but drunk Amanda, I'm not sure about that. Plus, I don't know if drunk Amanda could have strung together coherent sentences of what this movie was about. I think she probably would have been like, zombies are real, bro.
Well, Amanda, what movie are we talking about?
We're talking about Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
We are talking about Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
It's the movie terror time again.
Yeah, the movie that quintessentially saved Scooby-Doo from the abyss.
The movie that, like the zombies in it, brought Scooby-Doo back from the dead. Let's talk about how this film got made.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Real quick, before we jump into it, I do have to put one more thing out there. So, I think you guys know this, maybe, I don't know. I was sick Friday. Like, vomiting, throwing up, sick. So I did not go into work. One, I didn't want to, throw up on clients, and two, I don't think they would have appreciated me getting them sick. So while I was stuck in my bed, sleeping and doing nothing, eventually you get tired of sleeping, I watched the Sonic the Hedgehog movies. They're adorable, guys.
I've only watched the first one, but I did enjoy it.
I loved it so much. I was so happy about it. Like, oh man, and Jim Carrey, fantastic. Sorry, I just had to say that. Okay, we can get back to Scooby-Doo now.
Alright, so Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, a direct-to-video movie released on September 22nd, 1998. Scooby-Doo is dead at this point. It's been killed. They made Scooby-Doo at Arabian Nights, and they've murdered him.
Did you do research? Like, did you figure out what made somebody want to bring this back again?
I did. I do. I have that research. I have the answer.
All right.
The theme, before we get into that, the theme for the movie is, and the tagline for the movie, this time, the monsters are real.
That's a great tagline.
Although real monsters had obviously appeared in most of the 1980s Scooby-Doo stuff, with 13 Ghosts and Reluctant Werewolf and Ghoul School, they just ignored that. So nothing is canon. None of that shit, canon. None of it.
I think the only thing that's supposed to be canon is Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
Yeah, everything else, all of that was ignored, and this is the first time that the Mystery Inc. gang is encountering real monsters. By the time this film was released, Scooby-Doo was almost 30 years old and died at a young age.
No, he died at a very old age for a Great Dane.
For a Great Dane, yeah, 30 years old is
triple his life expectancy.
After the conclusion of the 6th series, A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, the character was absent from TV lineups. In 1991, Turner Broadcasting purchased Hanna-Barbera. And why would they purchase Hanna-Barbera? Well, they were about to launch a new 24/7 cable channel centered around animation, Cartoon Network, and they needed programming.
Fuck yeah, Cartoon Network! Sorry, I'm eating.
That's fine. So they bought Hanna-Barbera, and they aired reruns of the original Scooby-Doo, which attracted top ratings. In 1996, Turner, which, by the way, can I just say how on our two of our big series that we're doing, the Scooby-Doo series and the WCW series, everything is going to eventually revolve around Turner merging with Time Warner. Turner merges with Time Warner in 1996, and Davis Doi, who was in charge of Hanna-Barbera at the time, was tasked with developing projects based on the studio's existing property. The Time Warner executive suggested Scooby-Doo because it had a high Q score amongst mothers. That's right. Scooby-Doo was brought back with it because moms were big fans.
Yeah, because they grew up with it. I know that's why me and Mom watch Scooby-Doo all the time on Cartoon Network.
And so a Q score, for those who don't know, is just a measurement of familiarity and appeal of a brand, celebrity, company, entertainment product, any kind of product used here in the U.S. The more highly regarded the item is, the higher the Q score for the product is.
What does that one character say in the Scooby Natural episode? Isn't it something basically akin to the Q score where they're like, that dog was everywhere, I loved him?
That was Dean.
This is really the only episode of Supernatural I watched, but I don't know why that stuck out to me.
But yeah, that's why they brought him back.
Whoa, no. We don't just skip over that. Hannah, that's a travesty and you should be ashamed of yourself.
You shouldn't be ashamed of yourself, Hannah. You live
Frankie,
your life.
Even you could admit Supernatural was great up until season 5.
I enjoyed it up until season 5.
I rescind my statement because I do think I watched parts of, like, the early seasons. I've never sat and watched all of Supernatural. I don't want to. I don't have that time.
The team that was assembled to work on this new Scooby-Doo project were veterans of animation and had most recently worked on 2 shows, SWAT Cats, The Radical Squadron, and The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest. Screenwriter Glenn Leopold had been with the franchise since 1979 Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo. The film was directed by Jim Strenstrom, who had worked on Scooby projects beginning in 1983's new Scooby and Scrappy-Doo show. The film was going to just be a one-off experiment by Time Warner, so the crew had very little oversight and complete creative freedom to do what they wanted to do. Doi and Leopold...
That worked out real well for them.
It did. It worked out real well. Doi and Leopold developed the film's story, with Leopold receiving sole credit for the screenplay, mostly because most of the script is recycled from Leopold's script for an unfinished SWAT Cats episode titled The Curse of Cataluna.
So he's the one who came up with the zombies.
He had this idea. I think he had the idea of the Curse of the Cats.
That would make a lot more sense since this TV show I've never heard of that he wrote for is about cats.
Yeah.
You never heard of Johnny Quest?
No, this one was SWAT Cats, the SWAT Cats show. But
then
yeah,
who came up with the zombies?
I don't know who came up with the zombies, but
I want to shake their hand.
Strenstrom and Doi suggested in early story meetings that the monsters in the film be real. But others suggested that they keep the familiar formula of bad guys in rubber masks. Strenstrom and Doi were of the belief that worked for a half-hour television episode, but might grow tiresome over a full-length movie. Leopold disagreed, noting that throughout the franchise history, it was always a simple, solvable mystery. Lance Falk, who worked as the model coordinator on the film, suggested that they combine both ideas, where there is a simple, solvable mystery, but the monsters are real.
Lance Falk? That's the name you said?
Yes.
We all must bless Lance Falk for prompting this idea. For prompting Zombie Island into the masterpiece that it is.
So this movie is missing it's missing most of the actors that voice Scooby-Doo, and Hannah and I talked about this while we were waiting on Saturday. As kids, it's not noticeable because this is what we grew up with, but going through this month by month and watching all the old shows, it's very noticeable that Frank Welker is the only one who returned.
I never can tell the difference in voice actors for Daphne and Velma.
They're pretty good and consistent, yeah.
I feel like it's consistent enough where, like, you don't really pick up on it, but Casey Kasem as Shaggy is just, he's Shaggy until Matthew Lillard comes along and go, oh, that is Shaggy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Matthew Lillard does a Casey Kasem pretty well.
Why is Casey Kasem gone? We talked about this a little last time. He was supposed to be Shaggy, but he was a vegetarian. And he refused to voice Shaggy in a 1995 Burger King commercial, and then went on to demand that Shaggy give up eating meat in all future productions. The creative team rejected this as Shaggy eats anything was a hallmark of the character.
Yeah.
And production on Zombie Island, as far as the animation, had already begun, with the film already featuring a scene of Shaggy eating crawfish. They weren't about to reanimate the movie just so Shaggy could eat vegetables because Casey Kasem was a vegetarian.
Also, this movie takes place in New Orleans. You're gonna have seafood.
Gotta
at
have
least.
some seafood, yeah. You
Yeah.
gotta have some po' boys and
Yeah.
And depending on who you call a vegetarian, some vegetarians do eat fish.
yeah, that's true.
That's pescatarian.
Yeah, but they call themselves vegetarians.
But they call
No one
themselves
wants to say
vegetarians.
Oh, okay.
pescatarian.
Yeah.
Shaggy was recast with voice actor Billy West. Kasem was given a last-minute opportunity to fill the role and redub over Billy West, but he did refuse. So we're going to say goodbye to Casey Kasem for a while. Billy West is going to be with us for quite a bit. Radio personality Scott Enos voiced Scooby-Doo, as Don Messick, the character's original voice actor, had retired in 1996 and then died in 1997. Zombie Island was dedicated to his memory. Heather North was set to reprise her role as Daphne, but after a day of recording, and I could not find out why, she was replaced by Mary Kay Bergman, and B.J. Ward, who played Velma in the Johnny Bravo crossover episode, returned to reprise her role for this film.
Mary Bergman, she was on South Park.
She was. She did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Frank Welker is the only actor from the original series to return and reprise his role as Fred. He was almost fired or let go. Producers believed that his voice had gone down an octave, and the voice director kept requesting that Welker perform the voice at a higher pitch. Welker insisted his voice was the same as it has always been, as Fred's voice is close to his natural speaking voice. The reason why they thought this was because the reruns of Scooby-Doo that aired on Cartoon Network were typically time compressed and sped up to allow more room for commercials, giving the entire show's soundtrack a higher pitch. When the creative team, went back and viewed the early Scooby-Doo episodes in their original format, they found that Frank Welker's voice indeed had not changed. So that's why he was almost fired.
I am speechless.
I'm gonna punch them.
That they almost fired somebody because
They thought his voice changed because
his
they were
voice
watching
changed?
like a sped up version. Dumbasses.
Yeah, I know. Japanese animation studio Mook Animation was contracted to work on the film. Doi had a
And
relationship.
you can tell there's an Asian
Yeah.
influence there.
Doi had a relationship with the team at that studio, as they had previously collaborated on SWAT Cats and Johnny Quest. Hiroshi Aoyama and Kazumi Fukushima directed the overseas animation, but are not credited on the film. So let's give them credit here
What the
on our
fuck?
show.
I'm
That's
disappointed. Not surprised.
Disappointed, not shocked. The film
Can
was
we say their names again? So,
Hiroshi Aoyama and Kazumi Fukushima were the directors there. We'll probably never know the entire team
okay.
that worked on it, but
Thank you for making film history with Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
the film was animated and presented in standard 1.33 to 1 ratio, full frame format. the team were allowed a lot of time to work on this because there was no real set schedule, just delivery to the home video department upon completion. So they had time, they had no oversight, and complete creative freedom to work on this movie.
Nice. I have a question.
Yes. Maybe I have an answer.
I hope you do. I hope you do. So we know this as one of 4 iconic Scooby-Doo films. This,
Yes.
The Witch's Ghost, Alien Invaders, and Cyber Chase. They came out like one right after the other, like one each year. Were these like all kind of made around the same-ish time? Were the teams hired to create 4 films?
No.
No? Okay.
So this movie, I did a little, I've started research for Witch's Ghost because I wanted to see how it played into this. Zombie Island was a one-off.
Okay.
The others came because of its success. But
Okay.
this was an experiment that worked and led to them going, oh, we can make money off this. And so I don't know how much we all remember from the other 3, but they do tone down in the level of darkness.
Yes.
Because
Zombie Island is the only Scooby-Doo film classed as horror.
Yeah, because the studio gets involved.
Okay.
They take away the creative freedom that they were given.
Okay.
Not to say those are bad movies with the studio involvement.
They are not, but yeah.
You can tell that this one is the whole creative team were able to do what they wanted to do and their vision.
I don't know, man. The studio still put together some scary stuff. I was afraid of the little virus guy from Cyber Chase more than I was afraid of the zombies.
Nah, those zombies are gnarly looking.
I think Zombie Island is why I have a fear of zombies.
The American crew redesigned the series cast for the film, giving them a modern, for the 90s, fashion update. They felt Fred and Daphne with the ascots and Fred's bell-bottoms felt dated to the 60s, although we do get their original designs in the opening scene. Fred now wears a pair of jeans, a baby blue dress shirt, and a khaki vest. Daphne is seen wearing a suit consisting of a purple skirt and purple suit jacket, and her undershirt is green to keep her original color scheme. They briefly did give Shaggy the red shirt and sneakers.
Ugh.
But they changed it back because they thought his original outfit was more timeless.
Yes.
Velma also has very few changes. Her pleated skirt is replaced with a regular red skirt. Her knee-high socks are now ankle socks. And her shoes are sneakers, not the 60s style Mary Jane's from her original design. But she still has the orange turtleneck sweater, and her color scheme is completely unchanged.
Velma never changes. Her and Shaggy always have basically the same outfit.
The group that worked on the movie, trusted by studio management as they had all worked together for a long time, and all involved on the film had a passion for the project. Drew Gentle was the main background designer, with Falk contributing to the film's color key. Occasionally, the crew would hire freelance artists to contribute to ancillary designs. They also enlisted the assistance of Iwao Takamoto, the original designer of Scooby-Doo, who still had salary at Hanna-Barbera for advising on scenes. And Takamoto called the film a good, solid mystery and storyboarded several sequences of interplay between Shaggy and Scooby. The composer for the film was Stephen Bramson, who is known for his work on Tiny Toon Adventures, Jag, and the Lost in Space film. He scored and conducted the film. The soundtrack for the film features 3 songs composed specifically for the film. The Ghost is Here and It's Terror Time Again were both written by Glenn Leopold and performed by Sky Cycle.
Thank you so much, Glenn Leopold. Thank you.
Yeah, great job. And Sky Cycle is best known for the contributions to this.
Thank you, Sky Cycle, for being an awesome rock group.
This movie. And then the title track of Scooby-Doo Where Are You was reperformed by Third Eye Blind.
I was gonna say, that definitely sounded like Third Eye Blind.
It was, you were right.
Semi-charmed life, yes, because they were in a Scooby-Doo movie.
Originally, the film was supposed to be released in theaters. But
That would be awesome.
No, not with that animation.
Warner Brothers noticed that the strong market on their home media, particularly the very successful direct-to-video animated Batman films of the time, made them go, we're going to put this out on VHS through Warner Home Video.
But could you imagine going to the theater and watching this film, and then Terror Time hits, and it's in fucking IMAX?
We would have been 1 year old, guys.
Yeah, I would have enjoyed it as a 1-year-old.
We could time travel.
Because of the cost of production, which was more expensive than their usual ones, the tape retailed at $19.95, which was higher than other direct-to-video titles of that era, but it didn't matter because sales for the film exceeded the studio's expectations. It was released on DVD on March 6, 2001, later re-released in 2008 as a double feature on DVD alongside Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders, which is a weird choice, but alright. Skip the sequel, just go straight to the third one. In 2024...
Yeah, definitely would have put Witch's Ghost on there instead.
Yeah. In 2024, it was released on Blu-ray for the first time through the Warner Archive Collection, packaged with Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island.
I don't know her.
Yeah, the sales for this
exist.
film... I'm so not excited for that one. The sales for this film were aided by a reportedly $50 million promotional push. Advertisers believed that Scooby's iconic nature would generate strong sales and deserved equal visibility to that of a theatrical release. Tie-ins included Campbell's Soup, SpaghettiOs, 1-800-COLLECT, Wendy's, Lego, and of course Cartoon Network, which debuted the film on television on October 31st, 1998, after a whole month themed after Scooby-Doo. It was also promoted as a part of the network's Wacky Racing sponsorship deal with Melling Racing in 1998 as one of the 4 paint schemes featured on the NASCAR Winston Cup Series number 9 Ford Taurus, driven by rookie Jerry Nadeau. So, yes, there was a Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island themed NASCAR.
Go to our Instagram if you want to see that.
The paint scheme debuted at the Richmond International Raceway in the Exide NASCAR Select Batteries 400 on September 12, 1998, and was featured on the car through the Dura Lube Kmart 500 on October 25th, 1998, for a total of 7 races. At the time, the promotional push for Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island was the biggest marketing support in Warner Brothers Family Entertainment's history. Later assessments of the film, I haven't even gotten the original. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has a 88%, I think it's changed, I think it's like 87 now? Based on, it has a 87%, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes, with an average taking of 7.1 out of 10. That might be different from when I checked it before, but it's very highly rated on Rotten Tomatoes. Donald Levenson of the Chicago Tribune described the film as ambitious and called it a nostalgic hoot that resurrects all the touchstones of the original cartoons. Entertainment Weekly's Joe Niemeyer praised the film as fast, fun, and filled with knowing winks. The mystery honors the show's beloved structure, but writ large. And the New York Times' Peter M. Nichols complimented the film as well made. Lynn Heffley of the LA Times called the film more entertaining than you'd expect, despite the familiar Saturday morning type animation. And praise for the film has persisted. Michael Mallory at the LA Times credited it and its subsequent features for spinning the characters into more modern treatments of action and horror and toyed with a self-spoofing quality. Mariana Delgado of Collider writes, a notable shift in tone and aesthetic departs from its source material. It's how the film injects the situation with enough realism to seem like a live-action horror film while staying true to the animation. In 2022, Variety ranked Zombie Island as the best Scooby offering, with Carson Burton claiming the film is at once extremely rooted in the classics, yet willing to do something never seen before, the greatest of them all, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island gets everything right. Before I get into the little fun facts, there is a standalone sequel, which we'll review later, that was released in 2019, called Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island, that had its world premiere at San Diego Comic-Con in July of 2019, and then had a digital release that September, and finally a DVD release that October.
I can't wait for you to tell me poor reception the sequel got at Comic-Con.
I've never watched that movie, so I'm terrified.
It's not good. And I'll just leave it at that.
Great. Now, between Don Messick, who suffered a stroke, and his passing away in 1997, Frank Welker was approached to be the new voice of Scooby-Doo. He passed on it at the time, saying he was reluctant to take the role. As a result, Hadley Kaye and then Scott Enos were chosen. Hadley Kaye did the voice during the Johnny Bravo spot and little bits here and there. Scott Enos in this movie, of course. Welker eventually would take the role of Scooby after Scott Enos left in 2001. Hannah, I did promise you a story about how someone steals a job.
Yes, you did.
So Billy West is Shaggy.
Yes.
And Billy West eventually, is it Billy West or Scott Enos, actually? I think I got him confused. It's Scott Enos. I wrote the names. I flipped them. I flipped the names in my little note. It's Scott Enos who told Billy West that he wanted to learn from Billy West about his job and how he voices Shaggy. He just wanted to listen. And everyone thought that was weird until we get to Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, and guess who's voicing Shaggy now? It's Scott Enos. Scott Enos was taking notes about how Billy West was doing his job and then took it from him.
Okay.
They did say that Billy West needed time for his work on Futurama, which, to be fair, he was Fry on Futurama, and a bunch of other voices. But how does it feel to have the guy who followed you around during the last movie to then be the voice? We almost had a different Scooby than Scott Enos. David Coulier, who you might know as Uncle Joey on Full House.
Oh my god.
Auditioned to be the voice of Scooby-Doo.
Does that tape exist?
I wish I could find that tape.
I don't want to see it.
I don't think it would be horrible.
I do.
It would be very, very different, but I don't think it would be horrible.
I do.
This is the only Scooby-Doo film prior to their deaths that was not executive produced by William Hanna and Joseph Barbera. And the first movie that doesn't give special thanks to Joe Ruby and Ken Spears at the end of it, who were the creators of the characters. Instead, William Hanna and Joseph Barbera are given sole credit for creating the characters in this film. And in fact, William Hanna himself said that it was a team effort. Later, the films would say based on characters created by Hanna-Barbera Productions. Incidentally, the next film from Scooby-Doo that doesn't credit anybody for the creation of the characters is Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island. So, our voice cast, we have Scott Enos as Scooby-Doo, Billy West as Shaggy, Mary Kay Bergman as Daphne Blake, Frank Welker as Fred Jones, B.J. Ward as Velma Dinkley, Adrienne Barbeau as Simone Lenoir, Broadway's original Rizzo in Grease, and the animated voice for Catwoman in the direct-to-home Batman stuff. Tara Sharondoff as Lena Dupree. Can anyone tell me who Tara Sharondoff is better known as?
Is it Tara Strong?
It is Tara Strong.
Yeah.
Cam Clark as Detective Bo Neville, the original voice of Leonardo in TMNT and Liquid Snake in the Metal Gear series. Jim Cummings as Jacques, Colonel Jackson T. Pettigrew, and Morgan Moonscar. Jennifer Lee Warren as Chris, who played the original Crystal in Little Shop of Horrors. Ed Gilbert as Mr. Beeman in his last role in a movie. He was the one who voiced Baloo in Tailspin. And Mark Hamill as Snakebite Scruggs. Before we get into our review, what do the people think? Guys, I have terrible news to inform you of.
There is a 1-star review of this.
There is a 1-star review of this movie on IMDb.
I hope it's from like a 5-year-old who's like, I wet the bed after watching this. 1 star.
Let me tell you, it's not. It is from an adult.
Why do you tell me these things?
So, the overall rating on IMDb is 7.7 out of 10.
Too low.
Which, for all of our movies, I think might be the highest. It is the highest of all the movies. The 1-star review is called "What Do You Mean the Zombies Are Real?" left by Bugler007, March 17th, 2011.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
I found this to be a rather scary movie, but was not overly concerned because Scooby-Doo movies always end with the unmasking of the real culprit who's been wearing a disguise. Not so with Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. We get to the end to find that the zombies are real. I found this incredibly disappointing, and now find I'm checking the plot of any other Scooby-Doo movies that come along. I don't want my kids watching cartoons with this sort of theme, and will no longer okay them watching Scooby-Doo movies unless I've checked the plot first. Not one for the younger kids or the oversensitive kids. I'm baffled as to why the writers changed such a crucial element of the show.
First of all, you're a big pussy. First of all, teach your kid to grow some fucking balls.
Grow up, kid.
Yeah.
Zombies aren't real, dummy.
Yeah. It's a fucking movie.
What is this person gonna do when they learn dogs can't talk?
Oh my god. You think they're gonna buy their kids a Great Dane and then
name it Scooby?
Name it Scooby and be like, alright, this dog's about to talk, everyone. We do have a bunch of 10 out of 10 reviews.
Damn right, we better.
The one I chose is from July 3rd, 2005 by C. Barley. The best Scooby movie ever. Out of all the Scooby movies that have been made over the years, including the 2 live-action ones, Zombie Island is by far the best. The characters are older, the plotline is much more sophisticated than previous attempts, it's even a little scary, and by far looks the best. Even though it was a direct-to-video movie, it has the quality of a major motion picture, a big plus. Although Scooby and Shaggy haven't changed much, Fred, Velma, and especially Daphne were revamped. Velma is still calculating but suspicious to a fault. Fred takes shotgun to Daphne as the leader and is in denial about supernatural things. Daphne is no longer just the pretty face of the group, she's also intelligent, brave, completely independent, and the undisputed leader. Had Hanna-Barbera and Warner Brothers actually kept up with this kind of material, Scooby would still be alive and kicking more so than it is. But alas, they copped out for the bad guy wearing a mask routine, reverting the characters back to their original archetypes. Maybe someday someone will recreate the show using the characters and basic events, but for now, Zombie Island remains the absolute pinnacle of the Scooby world. That's it for my part of this episode. Mm-hmm. Amanda, take us to Zombie Island.
Happily. All right. So, we start off kind of spooky. Right? It's raining. It's dark outside. So we go to I would call this a castle.
Yeah, it's a castle.
Yeah. It has a moat.
We go to this little spooky castle, and this weird green swampy monster is chasing them. Real quick, one of my notes here, is that he's got a good butt.
The monster? Oh my god.
The monster has go look at this monster's dumpy.
Can I say, I was just paying attention to the animation because, like, the last Scooby thing we watched was so fucking ugly.
No, this gave me Speed Racer vibes.
This monster's caked up. He's like the Mothman statue.
Yeah, he is a caked up monster. But you're right, Frankie, I should talk about the animation. This animation style gives me Speed Racer vibes a little bit. So anyway, they're running away from this monster. They, do the accidental trapping or whatever. They pull the mask off of the monster and, surprise, it's a person. We find out this is a flashback. Daphne is telling this story to somebody who is interviewing her. I didn't write down her name because she's not that important.
Oh, I have a question for you though. First, Amanda,
Yeah, sure.
what do you think of the Third Eye Blind version of the theme song?
Of course, I love Third Eye Blind. I mean, I like the theme song too, but I can't say it's better than Simple Plan or, Simple Plan's version of the Scooby-Doo theme song, but it's up there. So, Daphne's being interviewed because she is now running a successful television and TV show that is, basically she's determined to find real ghosts instead of the fake ones that they always found. She is in it, in this little TV series with Fred, who's her cameraman and producer. We find out that the mystery gang has gone their separate ways. Velma has opened up a spooky bookstore, and Shaggy and Scooby are working in customs, sniffing out food that people are bringing into the country illegally. Maybe. I don't know. Is it illegally?
Yeah, because they're taking stuff through customs
Yeah.
that they're not allowed to.
That's why Scooby and Shaggy are confiscating it.
Yeah, but, man, cheese? Really? Can't bring cheese with you?
Not that much cheese. Damn, people are trying to bring whole blocks.
It looks delicious.
Lots of cheese. Everyone's trying to bring cheese into the U.S.
A lot of sausages,
I'm a big
too.
fan of cheese, though, so.
Yeah. And to be fair, a lot of the best cheese is made over in France and England.
And Italy.
And Italy, and not the U.S. I can't blame them. Daphne mentions in this interview that she misses the old gang. So Fred gets to thinking, and he contacts the rest of the gang to reunite for Daphne's birthday. They all hide in the little mystery machine, and Fred's like, Daphne, did you forget anything? And surprise, they all pop out.
Also, Fred's eyes are a very beautiful blue in this movie.
Yeah, no, he's
I was like enthralled by this man's eyes.
Yeah, he has his perfectly pretty blue, baby blue eyes.
Also, we kind of know the dates of which this movie takes place because we know that Daphne is a Gemini, thanks to quite a few episodes ago. So we can
assume.
We know because Daphne's a Gemini that this movie takes place between May 21st and June 20th.
The spookiest time of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Amanda, if it weren't for the fact that you weren't born yet, I would have thought you wrote this movie.
Why?
Because when Shaggy and Scooby get fired, their boss calls them a couple of gorgonzolas. They say, "Do you want some gorgonzola?" And his response is, "You're a couple of gorgonzolas."
I missed that.
Did you steal that line from Supernatural or Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island?
It's always been a part of her.
It's always, ever since I was born. So, who knows? I was a year old when this was happening. So, anyway, they all reunite for Daphne's birthday, and they go on a road trip across the U.S., scouting haunted locations for Daphne's show. And they just keep coming up with Bumpus.
Also, Daphne being upset that they aren't getting real ghosts, like this would be the most popular show in the world now. All the true crime they're stopping and showing on camera.
Oh my god, yeah.
People would go nuts for this show.
Yeah, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough, Frankie.
For Daphne. It's good enough for me. I'd watch the show.
And you know what else is good enough for me? The song that plays over the crime-stopping montage.
That's fine.
It's a great song.
That's fine. We're gonna hear better ones.
Listen, we all know Terror Time is OP, but
I'm gonna argue against you. I like Terror Time. There are much better songs in the Scooby-Doo universe.
Well, I'm only looking at Zombie Island.
Yeah, we haven't learned about any other songs yet. We don't know about them.
Yeah, but I have in my soul of souls.
We haven't been introduced to the Hex Girls yet.
I wasn't even talking about the Hex Girls. Are we forgetting the Cyber Chase theme song?
I am, honestly. I haven't watched Cyber Chase in a while.
Wow, guys. I'm upset with you.
Terror Time is so good. Terror Time's on my workout playlist.
This one's on my playlist too, but man, the Cyber Chase theme just gets me every time. It's got like that early 2000s vibe. Oh, so good. Anyway, where was I before I was interrupted? Oh, by the way, Frankie, I almost called you Freddy at one point.
Oh no.
I know. They come up with zilch, no real monsters. Daphne's a little bit depressed. She's a little dejected. She's getting a little pissy.
It's hot. It's May and June, and they're in Louisiana.
Yes. So they arrive in New Orleans. And as they're talking about these monsters, this random woman just eavesdropping on them comes up and being like, "Oh, you want a real haunted house? I work at a real haunted house. You can come with me." One, never trust somebody who's just going to invite strangers to their house as soon as they meet you.
Not even her house, her boss's house.
Yeah. That's red flag number 1. But we're going to ignore it.
You want to come to this house I don't own?
Also, they're in New Orleans. Every house is haunted down there. They want ghosts, they can go to the LaLaurie mansion and be traumatized in 50 million different ways.
Did you just call it LaLaurie? Do you mean LaLaurie?
Isn't it?
LaLaurie.
I thought it was LaLaurie.
LaLaurie.
Listen, that woman was a piece of shit. She doesn't deserve to have her name pronounced right.
Yeah, but Kathy Bates played her in American Horror Story. And I do love me some Kathy Bates.
I love me Kathy Bates too, but this historical figure is one of the worst of the worst, so fuck her.
Well, there's a lot of worse people. Okay. Yeah. What is that noise? Frankie, that's you.
What noise?
Do you guys hear that, or is it just me?
I heard it too, no.
Okay.
It was static.
You were staticky.
Oh, maybe there's something happening but I wouldn't hear it because I wouldn't hear static from my mic.
Yeah. Creepy girl.
Looks like Esmeralda.
Yeah, looks a little bit like Esmeralda. By the way, The Hunchback was out by this point, I believe, correct?
I don't know, you're the Disney expert.
I'm pretty damn sure.
I know it came out in the 90s. I don't know when exactly Hunchback of Notre Dame came out.
I'm pretty sure, Frankie, can you do some research? I'm pretty sure this came out in 96.
Hunchback?
Yeah, can you do some research real quick?
Yeah, I'll look it up. Keep talking.
Anyway, Esmeralda ripoff. At least I hope she is.
Hunchback did come out in 1996.
Oh, I know my Renaissance Disney. Fuck yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm really proud of that. Come on, that's a little impressive.
Nice job.
Thank you. So she invites them to her boss's mansion, house, what have you. Meanwhile, Shaggy and Scooby are trying to get a bite to eat. And the only reason I'm mentioning this part is because they get a sandwich. One, the sandwich looks great, but the peppers that they put on this sandwich, and the peppers just in this movie in general, make me want to eat peppers. And I'm not a big hot person.
Didn't remember how much peppers played a role in this movie.
I'm thinking that's why they're referenced so much in the live action one. Because we recently watched that too.
That is a possibility.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, those peppers look fucking good. Lena Dupree, the Esmeralda ripoff, I don't know if I said her name, but her name is Lena Dupree. She takes them to Moonscar Island, which you have to get to via ferry boat. The ferryman is named Jacques. And as they are going towards Moonscar Island, Shaggy and Scooby fall into the bayou and are being chased by, is it alligators or crocodiles?
One of the two.
It's one of the two. But they're rescued by how would you describe this man?
Knockoff Crocodile Dundee.
If Steve Irwin was a villain.
Yeah. He's like the bayou version of a bad Steve Irwin. He's trying to catch Big Mona, who's a giant catfish. Leave Big Mona alone. I feel like she's earned to be left alone. If you haven't caught her now, Just stop, man. So he ends up saving Scooby and Shaggy, but he doesn't stop bitching about having to save them and that they're tourists, which, to be fair, me too. I would do that too. If I had to save somebody's, like, fucking ass because they were gonna get eaten by alligators and they scared off whatever I was hunting, in this case a catfish, I would be mad too. So, they call him grumpy or anything, but maybe as a kid I would have said he was grumpy, but now as an adult I understand. He was just having a bad day. They end up on Moonscar Island, and they seem pretty skeptical of this house being haunted, because they've just been through, like, this whole rigmarole of everything's fake again. But they meet Lena's employer, Simone. She lives in a large mansion on a pepper plantation, hence where the peppers have now come into play again. And again, those peppers, they look delicious. And all of the food that they're referencing, man, I really wanted some gumbo watching this. They also meet Simone's gardener, Bo. I know we were talking about Fred's eyes and everything and how
Smash
you
or pass.
you were entranced by that. This man, I don't know what it is about, like, grumpy guys.
It's the accent.
It had to be the accent, but he's...
Is the New Orleans accent the best accent?
Maybe, but...
Maybe.
Damn. He was doing things to me.
He had some beautiful arms.
Yeah, he was a gorgeous man. He was a gorgeous animated man. And Velma? I see you, girl. I know what you're doing. So they meet Bo. We meet Bo, more importantly. Turns out, though, Lena did not know that Scooby was tagging along with them because Miss Simone owned a shit ton of cats. Like a shit ton. Like, I thought I had a lot of cats. This is
Amanda.
Too many cats.
Is this too many cats, Amanda?
I would say so. This is like that island of cats in Japan. Like, this is, we're at that level. There's a lot. But, I saw a lot of cats, but I didn't see a lot of kittens.
And they're semi-feral, too.
Yeah, but, to be fair, semi-feral cats, honestly, if they were feral cats, you would have never fucking seen them. So they had to have been semi-feral. Because they were just showing up. By the way, love how the cats fucking laugh at Scooby. That's how I feel like my cats... I wish that was how it would be in real life, so that I know when my cats are actually laughing at me. Because I just have to assume that they are. Scooby does make a little run for some of these cats and ends up knocking into Simone, who's very not happy at his presence. They end up going to the kitchen, going inside into the house, while Shaggy and Scooby are, I think they're eating gumbo. They scream, and at first they scream because they eat hot peppers, so the gang's like, guys, you gotta knock that off. Okay. So then they scream again, but this time it's because they encounter Moonscar's ghost. They see a little sign that's been, I guess it's not a sign, they see a little warning that's been etched into the kitchen wall, which, look, I know that the ghosts want to be seen. I can understand that, but at the same time, can we not damage property, please? If that was my kitchen wall, I'd be pissed. Frankie, if that was your kitchen wall, what would you do?
I would be very upset.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be very upset. But, I mean, look, they're evil people. We don't know that yet, but they're evil.
Daphne goes to record, and as she's recording the get out that's written on the wall, she gets a big blast of cold air, and then beware ends up right at the bottom, right beneath. So, they caught that on camera. Kind of. They go back and look at the film and they see Moonscar's ghost.
After they do the very real thing of enhance the image, zoom in.
Right. Yeah, like they did the
Criminal Minds enhance.
Yeah, they did the Jason Bourne thing. Oh, I forgot. Velma also gets levitated at this point as well. And the poor girl has a skirt. She's just trying to keep everything private. Poor thing, I feel. feel for her. They find out a little bit about Moonscar, who's ghost. He was a pirate, came to the island to like pillage and plunder, and they say he left a treasure or whatever. Velma goes back into the kitchen and starts investigating. She then takes a spatula and uncovers basically a ship sign that says Maelstrom, I believe.
Maelstrom.
Maelstrom, thank you. So, wrecking this woman's kitchen wall a little bit more.
Alright, here's the thing. Property damage, not cool. But she comes in here and says that half of her kitchen was destroyed. Listen, I know that's way too big of an exaggeration.
Also, now she just kind of has a cool feature wall in the kitchen.
That is kind of
That
cool.
is pretty cool, yeah.
Like, you can be like, this is the pirate ship name from...
The original wood from the pirate ship.
Yeah, that's like a bragging piece
Yeah,
now.
to be fair, I would have taken all that down so you could see all of that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Shaggy and Scooby-Doo want to stick around to learn more about the pirate ghost or whatever. They go outside to eat some more. Scooby ends up chasing some cats again. A lot of cats chasing. Shaggy does mention, hey Scoob, you gotta stop this. The gardener's gonna be pissed off at us. Scooby does get a frog stuck on his head, and as he pulls it off, his nose turns into an accordion. Very classic Scooby-Doo gag, which I did appreciate. We don't have a lot of those classic, like, real cartoony gags, so I did like this one. Scooby ends up running into the water, and we run into the New Orleans Crocodile Dundee guy again, because he gets mad that Scooby scared Mona away. So finally, Crocodile Dundee, New Orleans version, sends his hog after Scooby and Shaggy. And they end up running away, but falling into a hole. A really big hole. Almost as big as a grave, I would say. Maybe a little bit bigger. As Shaggy is trying to climb out of the hole, he grabs onto, I guess it would be a vine, and they see a skeletal arm that pops out because he's pulled this vine down. Then a nice glowy green circle starts whipping around them, and it animates the skeleton. Right? And we get our first, like, this shit might actually be real.
And that zombie terrified me as a kid.
Yeah.
Really?
It's because it's like a very realistic zombie for an animated film.
Hmm.
And the sword...
I mean, he starts out as skeleton.
Yeah, but then the sword is kind of rusty and bloody.
Yeah, I always
Terrifying.
thought it was blood on the sword as a kid.
Yeah, but if it's not blood, it's rust, and there's nothing worse than a tetanus infection.
No,
Yeah.
that's rust. That's rust. That's not
Which is
blood.
terrifying. You don't want tetanus.
Oh, shut up.
That zombie is swinging that sword, trying to, like, it looks like they're gonna get, Scooby and Shaggy are gonna get decapitated.
He just needs that
And
for
we're
protection.
stuck in a ditch with a zombie pirate.
Well, they get out of the ditch pretty damn fast, and they start running away from the zombie man with the sword. And they run straight into Bo, who, man, they just spilled his lemonade all over him, but...
Oh no, not on the white shirt.
Yeah, his nice white tank top.
Also, it took almost 40 minutes to get the first zombie.
Yeah. Well, you can't come in with a zombie right off the bat.
I think but like, it's some good pacing for the first zombie. I love it.
Yeah.
It actually comes right in the very middle of the movie, it seems. Like, exact middle from what I am observing on here. Anyway, they run into Bo, and Bo's like, what are you guys fucking doing? They're like, we're running from a zombie. He's like, I don't see any zombies. And then the gang comes because they hear all the screaming. And they're like, yeah, there's a zombie, look! And they go to the big hole. The big ass hole. And Frankie, what do they find?
I don't remember. I didn't take a note on this.
Nothing. They find nothing.
I will say this. I did have a note about this section because I had a problem with the rest of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they just trampling through the bushes?
They do that a lot in this film.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times they're like running away from something, so that makes sense. They weren't, Velma, Dabney, Fred, and the rest weren't running from anything at that point.
Mm.
I'm sure Bo's in charge of the bushes too.
Yeah.
He's gonna be pissed.
how far does the property line go, and how far does Bo have to work?
Well, he has to at least touch those bushes because he was doing work out there, he said.
Mm-hmm. Right. So they find nothing, and Velma's
Where
like,
did the zombie go?
we don't know. So they go back to the hole, and they find nothing. And Velma's like, Bo, why is this hole here? What were you doing? And he's like, I was fucking doing my job. She's like, well, why weren't you here? And he's like, I went to go get lemonade. It's fucking hot. And then I ran into these idiots. And that is true. He did get his lemonade all spilt by them. And then he walks off all huffy. And Daphne says what we're all thinking, that he's kind of cute. Now,
I have a question.
Yes.
I meant to ask this earlier. What is Fred and Daphne's relationship status at this point?
I can answer that.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, you have an official answer.
I have an official answer. It's not that they're officially together. That's not like ever officially confirmed, but the official stance on this is that this is the first Scooby-Doo property. Because they did have the relationship confirmed in the Johnny Bravo episode. This is the first Scooby-Doo property that shows their romantic feelings between Fred and Daphne. Because they both get jealous when the other flirts. Or talks about someone else.
To me, it feels like they were together and then they broke up and things are awkward because there's still feelings.
No, I don't get that vibe. It's not awkward enough.
I get the vibe that they are, like,
talking
at the talking stage.
Yeah.
And Fred's like, I'm gonna ask her out, but then, you know, he sees, Lena, and then Daphne's like, bitch, you're supposed to be asking me out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna mess with you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is all pettiness on Daphne's part. They notice that it's getting close to sunset, and Simone says, hey, you could stay the night, we have a bunch of rooms. Scooby's probably gonna have to stay outside. She doesn't say that, but we all know this. They show them to their rooms, which is nice. Lena flirts with Fred a little bit more, of course. They get her all seductive, in his room, with, the sun setting and everything. It's very, alright.
They play romantic music under it.
Yeah, I see what you're doing. Scooby's messing around with an owl. Shaggy is trimming his beard, and he sees is it a Confederate ghost?
It is.
I'm assuming.
Yes.
I'm assuming it's a Confederate ghost. They see a Confederate ghost come through the mirror. So they run into Fred's room and freak out and say, hey Fred, this is what we found. They also run into Simone and they're like, hey, we saw another ghost. They go back into the room and they find nothing. I forget who. No, it's Velma. Velma looks behind the mirror and she sees something underneath it. She sees something behind the mirror. It says property of Colonel Jackson T. Pettigrew, the 8th Louisiana. So it was a Civil War regiment. So they're like, oh, there's pirates and there's, soldiers? That's interesting. And then Lena's like, before we get too much into that, it's dinner time. Time to go to dinner. As they sit down, Simone's like, hey, this is great and all, but your dog's gonna have to eat in the kitchen. So as they're all eating, they're like, Bo's not here. Why is Bo not here? Well, he normally eats in his room. So, and they start asking questions about Bo, because he might be suspicious. And Scooby ends up freaking out a cat that's in Simone's arms. And finally, Simone's like, get the fuck outside. Go outside. Stop tormenting my cats. And they're like, no, there are zombies out there. Yeah. So, Lena's like, hey, why don't you guys go eat in your mystery machine? So, they go and eat in the mystery machine. But as they're eating, they see cat eyes staring at them. So Shaggy goes to move the van further away so that they can enjoy their meal in peace. I would just ignore them.
He got over there being zombies outside real quick.
So Fred and Daphne at dinner are trying to figure out, what is this? Is this a smuggling ring? Are they looking for treasure? Daphne gets pissed. Can you guys just accept that there's ghosts for once? Shaggy and Scooby are closer to the bayou now, eating, trying to relax away from the cats. They eat some hot peppers, and I think they end up jumping into the water because the peppers are so hot. Or at least putting their head in. But as they put their head in, they see the green little spooky light thing touching the water, and all of these zombies start to come out from the water. Like a shit ton.
What a cool scene.
Super cool.
But also, that was also terrifying as a kid.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was not scared of this movie as a kid.
Although, I will say, what
Mhm.
what a shit, like you have the scary zombie pirates and the scary zombie soldiers, and then you got some tourists.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, how were you afraid of these zombies when they had such an ugly Hawaiian shirt on one of them?
It was just the idea that there were zombies and they were real. And that was terrifying enough.
It is terrifying, but like, why are they tourists?
Well, we know why.
I know, we all know why, but like, this dude's carrying a camera around. I'm not scared of him.
So Shaggy and Scooby run away, and they run straight into Bo, who has a lantern. And I guess when they look at him, they only see like the white of his eyes, so they get scared of him as well and run away from him. And then we get a nice little look at him, and he's like, oh. Anyway, they can hear Shaggy and Scooby screaming from dinner at the house. So Lena gives them some lanterns, and they're gonna go out, and they're gonna find their friends. As they're searching, they come across Bo, and Bo's like, hey, they were by the bayou, screaming about zombies, but I didn't see any. And Velma's like, you never do, you little shady guy who's quite handsome.
Also, quite impressive. You didn't see the zombies that were like 50 feet away.
Right. So Fred, of course, suggested they split up, and Daphne's gonna go with Bo, but Velma's like, no, I'm gonna go with Bo. I'll keep my eye on him. I see what you're doing, Velma. And she made it seem like she was doing Fred a favor, too. I see what you're doing, Velma, and I'm so proud of you. Bo ends up asking Velma why she keeps treating him like a suspect, and she's like, 'cause, bro, you are a suspect. He grabs her arm, and we're like, oh, jeez, why is he doing that? And then he picks up a rock, and we think he's gonna bash her over the head with it. No, he just throws it into the sand, because it was quicksand. And that's why he was tugging on her arm. But no, she didn't want to listen. But I bet you that got her heart pumping. Fred and Daphne move to the mystery machine, and they find the remnants of Shaggy and Scooby's, I guess, dinner. It's a bunch of crawdad shells. Again, I'm so hungry for bayou food. Daphne feels something on her shoulder, and okay, what is that move called? Yeah.
It's just like kind of a judo throw she does.
Yeah, she like throws him over her shoulder, and he lands in front of the mystery machine. And they see it's like a zombie. So Fred's like, it's probably the gardener. So Daphne goes to take the mask off, and she's like, this is not real. Actually, before she goes to take the mask off, Shaggy and Scooby show up. So Fred starts recording, and Daphne goes to take the mask off. It's not coming off, guys. So Fred's like, move. I'll do it myself. He gives the camera to Shaggy and Scooby. Fred pulls on this mask so hard, he removes this guy's head.
That's the moment, right?
Yeah. Because it's not a mask.
Like, that's the big moment of the film.
Right.
The first big moment. Like, oh, these zombies are real. Fuck.
Everyone's heart drops.
And then they're playing hot potato with this guy's head. Which is a fair thing. Nobody would want to hold on to it. But the moment his head plops down in between his legs, he starts to move. And he takes his head and he puts it back on.
Also, this zombie was very nice. And Daphne was just there judo throwing him. He tapped her on the shoulder.
He did
Like,
grab her.
hello,
Yeah,
I'm
he
here.
should have made a noise. I would get startled too.
He should have hit her with a little,
Yeah.
and then.
The wind starts to pick up. There's like a weird tornado-y thingy in the sky, and that green smoke spirit thing comes down into the water, and more zombies start to rise up. And this is where we get touristy zombies again. So Shaggy and Scooby just start booking it, and Fred and Daphne are just kind of standing there amazed. Like,
Shaggy's kind of a shit friend. He leaves Daphne and Fred.
I would leave you guys too.
Immediate.
If you guys weren't running with me, I'm leaving you behind. Fred seems to think they're all animatronics. No. He's recording, but then they hear Lena scream and they go running because they're like, oh no, we left her alone. But Fred trips. Oh, and he drops the camera in the quicksand.
You idiot.
You dumbass.
You fucking dummy.
This is why you always keep your camera on like a little cord that's hooked to you.
And now the world will never know that zombies are real.
And we get Hannah's favorite song.
We get everyone's favorite song.
Everyone but Amanda.
It's not mine. I'm sorry. It's not my favorite song. It's the best song of this movie.
God, it's so good.
It's the best scene.
I would disagree with that one.
What's the best scene for you?
We haven't gotten into it yet.
Oh, okay.
I wish we could play the song right here, but we would get copyright claims so
Everyone
fast.
listen to it after the episode's over.
You
Just
can listen to it. You put like a little clip of it on Instagram. You can do that again, Hannah.
Oh, on Instagram, yes. I meant in the episode itself.
Well, now we're just going to plug our Instagram real quick. Please go over there and listen to the song.
I love this little montage that comes with It's Terror Time again, because this is where you start really getting the, and it's one of the reasons that I love this movie so much. The movie is so good, because they hint at everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like,
it's all
very subtle. It's not in your face. It is a real like, oh, hint, blink and you miss it, because in one of the parts of the montage, one of the zombies hands Shaggy, as they're sinking into quicksand, a vine to get out.
Anyway, after this montage, Shaggy and Scooby have fallen into this cave, and they find these wax dolls that look suspiciously like Fred, Velma, and Daphne.
Although they don't put it together.
But they pick up these dolls, and all of a sudden we see Fred, Daphne, and Velma levitating. Bo is trying to get Velma down. It's not working. In fact, their arms are moving without them doing it. I think Daphne hits Fred a couple of times.
She beats
also
the
kicks
shit
him.
out of him.
Yeah. Velma punches Bo in the face, which I know she didn't want to do. So as Shaggy and Scooby are playing with the dolls, they end up seeing a bunch of eyes, and oh no, there's bats in the cave, like most caves. Daphne, Fred, and Velma all fall down, and before they can really figure out what just happened, they hear Lena screaming again, so they go and chase after her.
Would not go to help the people I just met.
Right.
Like, no, I'm climbing that tree, and I'm not coming down till morning.
So Shaggy and Scooby have run out of the cave, but they've ran straight into the zombies again. Meanwhile, Fred, Daphne, Velma, and Bo are in the house. They find Lena in this weird, like, little staircase secret passage, and she gives them this whole sob story about how you left us here alone, and the zombies, they took Miss Simone and they dragged her away. Velma is quite suspicious, because she sees footprints. She sees footprints in this dirt path. Despite her suspicions, they continue to walk through the secret passage. I would be like, bitch, you're lying to me. But they continue to walk. And they come across a voodoo chamber or a ritual chamber. I think they call it like a voodoo chamber. Velma is like, this is a place for voodoo rituals. But we should just ask Lena about it. Because she obviously let us here. Right? Because Simone wasn't dragged. She walked away. Duh. Of course she walked away. And we see Simone and she comes out. I think this is my favorite scene.
The twist reveal.
The twist reveal.
Second twist.
So Simone goes to explain that about 200 years ago, she and Lena were part of this group of settlers who came to this island, and they worshipped a cat god. The cat god is not named.
You can give him a name.
I only know of one cat god.
Create a new cat god.
I don't want secret.
Yeah, they're worshipping your cat.
Yeah, my cat, my baby. And if they did bad things or they didn't sacrifice in his name, he'd sneeze on them all.
And give them concussions.
Yeah, that too. No, that's what happens if you do good.
You get a concussion?
Wow.
Nice job. Let me rattle your brain a little bit.
You've gotten concussions from Secret.
No, I haven't.
He's definitely headbutted you.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a concussion from it.
Not yet.
If you get a concussion because Amanda's cat headbutts you, that is officially the stupidest way someone has gotten a concussion.
Well, no, my way was dumber. Avoiding a sneeze from said cat. Because I did bad, apparently. So I guess when Moonscar, the pirate, and his crew invaded the island, they ended up chasing all of the settlers into the bayou, where they were eaten alive by either alligators or crocodiles. One of the two. The only people who managed to escape were Simone and Lena. They prayed to their cat god, Secret, to curse Moonscar and, get revenge. And they were transformed into immortal werecats. And they killed the pirates. But they realized that because they had asked for this curse, they were cursed themselves. So every harvest moon since, they lure and exploit victims to drain and preserve their immortality.
See, now here's my issue with this.
Oh no.
Right?
Mhm.
They just keep killing people for their immortality.
Right.
But their life kind of sucks. They have no modern conveniences on this island. They're not really doing much with their immortality. I feel like they're just killing for the love of the game at this point. They just like killing people now.
They could have stopped after the pirates. They didn't have to kill past that.
Yeah, they could have just lived their lives out. But then now they're just killing for the love of it.
Eventually, people stopped coming to the island. Just because,
and
by the way, one of the people who came to the island developed a great pepper plantation. And that's why the peppers are there. And then they killed that person and took over. People stopped coming to the island all on their own. So Lena had to get real good at luring people, which is how she caught Fred. She's had years of practice. And we find out that the zombies are just the poor people's souls. Or the poor people whose souls they've drained. And
is it really years of practice? Just be like, yeah, I'm an attractive woman and I lure men here?
Yes.
Years of practice.
But what about Jacques? What about Jacques?
I don't know. I haven't thought of him this whole time.
Yeah, I know. They recruited Jacques as well, because they needed a ferryman to take people and to not get suspicious. And Jacques was an old man, so they also offered him immortality. Meanwhile, as they're talking about Jacques comes out. Well, Scooby and Shaggy make it to the ferry boat, and Jacques is, again, revealed to be a werecat, and they start chasing, he starts chasing Scooby and Shaggy, but the zombies end up, I guess, jumping him. Lena and Simone use the dolls to kind of trap Velma and Daphne, and Shaggy and Scooby run back into the cave. Why weren't Shaggy and Scooby made into dolls, Frankie?
Because they think it would be a waste. Because they're useless.
A waste of magic wax.
Where'd they get the magic wax?
I don't know.
It is New Orleans.
Yeah, they just went.
They just went to a store.
Yeah. That's on the shopping list, once a month.
So when Shaggy and Scooby fall into the cave, they end up knocking the dolls close to the fire, and we see that as the dolls start to melt, the gang starts to melt. So
terrifying.
It is that one's quite scary. So they're kind of half werecats now, but after they get knocked into, they turn into full werecats with fur and shit.
Also, has Scooby lost his collar yet at this point?
He's about to, because it's
Yeah.
once they turn into the full werecat.
Okay.
Yeah, he hasn't lost it yet. They go to run out of the cave because they see the werecats, and they can't. So when they run back in, they end up moving the dolls away from the fire. And actually, Velma ends up getting her doll close to her feet, so she tries to untie them. So she tries to wrestle the ropes off of her doll so that she can start moving again. At this point, the zombies are trying to attack the werecat people, while the zombies are also trying to attack the werecat people. Did I say that correctly?
You just said they're attacking the werecats twice.
Okay, sorry. The zombies are attacking the werecats while the werecats are trying to attack Shaggy and Scooby. A lot of stuff gets jumbled up. Velma finally gets untied. We see Jacques has ended up catching Shaggy and Scooby. And at this point, Frankie, this is where Scooby loses his collar.
Yeah, I don't like it. He looks naked.
Well, he is naked.
Yeah, I understand that. He's a dog. He's never wearing clothing, but it just feels uncomfortable without the collar.
Well, you take the collar off and then you tell the dog you're naked.
I didn't like him without the collar. You should always have it on.
They end up running away from Jacques by squeezing a pepper into his eye, but Lena and Simone get a hold of Shaggy and Scooby and start to drain them. But before they do, they get thrown against the wall by an invisible force. Velma and Daphne have created those wax dolls in their likeness and are just throwing them all against the room. Which is fair. You know, they were gonna get killed. Shaggy admits that he was starting to feel like a raisin while he was getting drained, but he was able to, get that back. Which I thought was quite cute. Also, I missed the joke where he first came in and they're all, like, tied up against the wall, sitting down or whatever. He's like, what are you guys doing, playing charades? I thought that was funny. The werecats start to close in on the gang, but then smoke starts to appear from them. And they start, like, I guess basically disintegrating. That's the best way I could describe this.
The way the werecats die?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. They basically disintegrate and turn into sand. Kind of like Mother Gothel and Rapunzel.
Spoilers.
Whatever. We see the zombies.
That is a big... I've never seen that movie.
Sorry. We see the zombies also start to disintegrate. Because their spirits have been, like, laid to rest, and they can be at peace now.
They fulfilled their purpose.
Yeah. And the Confederate soldier, his ghost pops out one last time to say thank you.
And then he goes
Why
to
did they
hell.
choose that? Why did they choose the Confederate to do that? They could have chosen the pirate. They could have chosen one of the tourists. They had to go, no, we want the Confederate soldier to say thank you.
Do you guys have a favorite zombie in the film?
Anyone but the Confederate, yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite zombie? It's the guy who was so chill about getting his head pulled off.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
He was too chill about it.
It was probably his first human interaction with people in years. So, I think he's gonna be okay with just about anything that they do. So Daphne's really sad because she's like, man, we came across a real, like, monsters, and we have no camera. Nobody's gonna believe us. And Bo's like, I bet you some cops will believe it because I'm a cop.
No, they
I was
won't.
here.
No, he backtracks his statement, like, not even 5 minutes later.
Yeah. He's like, I was here to investigate the disappearances, but I'm not sure my superiors are going to buy this either. So
They're gonna think he murdered Simone and Lena.
Anyway, so we cut to Fred and Daphne on the dock of a ferry boat. They're looking at the water. It's so romantic. And Bo and Velma have, like, a little romance thing. He's, like, reading some poetry or spouting some poetry to her. And he's like, man, I always wanted to write detective novels. And Velma's like, I own a detective bookshop,
But
romance.
actually, I fucking hate it, so stay away.
Yeah.
She's like, do you actually want to buy it for me?
Please?
Please, before you go to jail?
So Velma's like, where's Scooby? And Scooby's picking peppers for the road trip before they leave.
He has such a cute little basket in his mouth.
Frankie, I gotta go do a thing real quick. But you finish up this thing. I'll be right back.
Okay, the movie ends.
And if you watch through the credits, you can watch Scooby-Doo pour milk for the cats.
There's a post-credit scene, so Marvel stealing from Scooby-Doo. Marvel getting his inspiration from the greats. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. I love this movie. Like I said, it's amazing. They hint at everything, but it's all very subtle. Nothing feels out of place once it's revealed because of the hinting that they do. The pacing is great with the twist, because you get the twist of the zombies being real and you think that's the end of it, but then, oh no, the zombies aren't the bad guys.
Beautiful, stunning, innovative, never been done before.
It's really a great thing it's not something you would expect from Scooby-Doo. I like that they get all of the fun Scooby-Doo, like, traditional gags out of the way. You do get them.
Yeah, the movie starts and there is a doorway chase.
Yeah, you get all the fun little gags and the mask and the doorway chase and the chase to the music and the monster at the very beginning, and then you get to enjoy something that you don't expect from Scooby-Doo at the time, and I don't know if you expect it from Scooby-Doo now, still.
It is one of a kind. I don't think they can ever, like, capture this. They can't capture lightning in a bottle again.
And I wish they could. They probably could if they did what?
They just hire people who love Scooby-Doo, and they're like, here's your budget, do whatever you want, we'll see ya in a year.
Yeah, they did what they did with this one and said, hey, we're gonna let you guys do what you want to do, we're gonna give you creative freedom, enjoy. But I don't think any studio will ever do that again, so, to the extent that they did here.
Mm-hmm. They'd be like, can you please send us progress reports once a week?
Yeah, and because once it starts making money, then the studio's like, well, we gotta get involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hi, I'm back. Sorry, the peanut gallery called for me.
Alright, well,
I think she
you're back.
hurt herself.
You're back in time for the ranking.
Ah, yeah, number 1. Duh.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really.
Yeah.
There's no contest right now, and even if there was...
Our number 1 is Ghoul School.
I love Ghoul School, but Zombie Island is, like, levels above it.
Yeah, I have to... As much as I love Sabella and, like, Tanis and all of them, great characters, doesn't beat the story and the story arc.
Of this. God, it's so good. Everything about it. Alright, well, with that out of the way, Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island, our number 1 Scooby-Doo movie, and we're gonna have a lot more movies coming up. Our next Scooby-Doo episode next month will be Hannah taking us through Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost.
Hell yeah, I'm so excited.
Our introduction into the Scooby-Doo universe of Tim Curry.
Yay!
I say introduction, he has a second role in a different Scooby-Doo
movie. I know.
So Tim Curry will be back, but we get our introduction to Tim Curry, and we get our introduction to some people way more important to the Scooby-Doo
I never
universe.
thought I would say someone is more important than Tim Curry.
But to the Scooby-Doo lore, they are more important. We're gonna meet next month the Hex Girls. Screaming, crying, throwing up. Do you guys remember, because they do it for all the movies, do you guys remember who does the theme song for this movie? The Scooby-Doo Where Are You rendition. Isn't it Billy Ray Cyrus? It is Billy Ray Cyrus. You told me that ages ago, and now that lives in my head rent-free. Yeah, Billy Ray Cyrus. I don't remember it, but I'm weirdly anticipating it. I wonder what it'll be like. Alright, so, next month we'll be doing our review of Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, but next week, Hannah, it's your episode. What are we doing? It is, and funnily enough, it also involves Tim Curry. Oh God.
Rocky Horror?
What?
Rocky Horror?
Not Rocky Horror, no.
Clue?
No.
Fern Gully?
No.
I give up.
Oh no, I want you to keep guessing.
Yeah, just go through his whole IMDb page.
Give me a second.
No, what is it, Hannah, please? We
No,
don't have time.
wait.
It is 9:48.
Here, I'll
We do
give
not
you
have
a
time.
hint.
Give me a couple more guesses.
You
he
get
was
hey,
in.
you get 2 more guesses. You get exactly 2. It is almost a 2-hour episode.
Can I have 3, please?
You
No.
can have. I was gonna tell you 3, so you can have 3.
Hannah said 3, so, is it, Muppet Treasure Island?
No. Well, we would be covering that for your Disney review. I feel like you're close.
Oh my god, you gotta
am I?
give
Is
me
it
a
Home
guess.
Alone 2?
No, it's not Home Alone 2.
The Addams Family Reunion?
No.
Hunt for Red October.
That was 4. No.
Charlie's Angels.
You stop. Hannah, what is it, please?
I'm going to be starting my own long form project, and we're going to review the Barbie films.
Oh no.
So we're gonna start with Barbie and the Nutcracker next week.
Yes. Frankie, would you like to watch this with me?
I mean, I think it's your week on Saturday, so.
Fuck yes.
Oh no.
Get excited, Franklin.
It's so good.
No. God, I'm looking at the fucking images from this, and this animation one makes me want to die.
Listen, it was 2001, and they did the best. This was their first film. They had to test the waters.
This was made in 1998.
Yeah, and?
Has better animation, we're just saying.
Oh man, I was looking at films. I wasn't even looking at like, voice roles.
Tim Curry is in the fucking Barbie movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Alright, well. Cannot wait for that. So excited.
You should be. It's a great
Frankie's
film.
mood went so far down.
I was so happy tonight. We're talking about Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. We're talking about Witch's Ghost next month, and then...
Dude, I think you're gonna be impressed with some of these Barbie movies.
Yeah, especially, like, the early
first
ones.
couple.
Yeah, the good ones.
Alright, we'll see. We'll see what happens with these Barbie movies. But
Princess and the Pauper's gonna come in, and you're gonna be like, this is cinema.
That's a Saturday problem. And then a Sunday problem. That's a this weekend problem, not a now problem. Now my problem is, let's finish this episode. As of recording, we are on Spotify and YouTube. If you are listening to us on Spotify, or YouTube, we do YouTube first. If you're listening to us on YouTube, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell for a notification for when every episode is uploaded.
Smash that like button, too. I hear that when you
like,
yeah. I hear
don't
when you
smash
say
it. Don't break it.
No, break it.
Don't break it. Don't break it.
Smash the like button, because I hear it lights up.
Alright, hit the like button, comment, subscribe. If you're listening to us on Spotify, remember to follow the show, give us a rating and review, and answer the question. The question this week will be, is Terror Time the best Scooby-Doo song?
Yes.
No.
Yes or no? No matter where you're listening to us, though, please remember to share the show, spread the word about the show. We very much appreciate when you do that. We enjoy doing it. We want more people to listen. So spread the word. If you would like to send us an email where you can give us suggestions for a show topic, you can give us some comments about any of the episodes that we've done, you can ask us some fan questions that we would like to answer, you can do so by sending us an email to
Nothing to See Here podcast at gmail.com. As always, here is spelled H-E-A-R.
If you would like to see some amazing artwork done by Amanda, some great memes made by Hannah, and images of things that we've discussed in the episode, like the Scooby-Doo NASCAR, you can do so over on our Instagram page, which is at
Nothing to See Here pod.
I think that is everything, so join us next month for our continuation of Scooby-Doo with Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, and join us next week when we talk about what is apparently the 2001 classic, Barbie and the Nutcracker. Well, goodbye and good night. It's Frankie.
It's Hannah.
Guys, go watch some more of Tim Curry's stuff, like Bartok and the Magnificent. He was in that.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.